What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This week's video is going to focus on my most played NES games, the ones that I spent the most time on. Weren't the best games, but they were the ones that I loved the most. And just like the Atari 2600 video I made, uh, for some reason I just always gravitated back to these Nintendo games, even if I had newer games available. But I hope you enjoy the list. If you have your own list, let me know. I'm interested. Okay, so the first up is Battletoads. This is the answer to the age-old question, what do you do when Mutant Ninja Turtles have already been taken? Well, you go with the next best thing, which of course is Frogs and Toads. This is a fun, side-scrolling beat-em-up game. I played it a lot by myself, mostly because I would get in trouble and got grounded, but when you had a friend over and you were co-oping it, it was so much better. I could beat it by myself. Once you learn the levels and the patterns, it's relatively simple. Still, a lot more fun with someone else. If you got some time to kill and you got a friend over, look no further, this game is worth it. Next up is Bonk's Adventure. This is another side-scrolling beat-em-up game. I always enjoyed the art of this game, especially Bonk himself, this little giant-headed baby caveman thing. I really liked it when he'd eat the meat and just go ballistic, get all rage-induced and just destroy everything. I thought that was pretty fun. More importantly, the boss fights in this game are extremely well done. A lot of dinosaurs you fight against, but it's the tactics and stuff like that makes them very creative and fun. Always a good game, still play this game to this day. And of course we have Castlevania, the start of it all. Such a great series. Now I don't know if the NES was just home to so many side-scrolling beat-em-ups because that's just what worked back then, or if they were just such a hit, that's all people wanted to make. But I love every single one of them. Castlevania in particular, the dark, macabre themes, first time when you really had to think about your weapon selection. Certain fights, certain areas needed the dagger or the cross or all that good stuff. And if you inadvertently stepped on them, man, that was so frustrating. But very fun game. Very fun series as a whole. Always would recommend Castlevania. Start at the beginning and work your way up. And now we have Contra. Such a cool game. I remember playing Contra for the first time and thinking, my gosh, I'm terrible, or this game is incredibly hard. And then finding out it was both. But then, of course, I found the Konami code, and take that, Contra. I will admit that's the only time I've ever beaten this game, is with the Konami code. The original NES Contra, mind you, because it was a tough game. So fun getting the upgrades, shooting them out of the sky, and just eventually you just have a ballistic spread across the screen, and it was so cool. Once again, another fun co-op game, doable single player, but so much better co-op. Contra is always a good choice. Alright, next up we have Double Dragon. Who has not played Double Dragon? If you haven't, play Double Dragon. Play one of them at least. I prefer the first one if you did, but it's up to you. Once again, another side-scrolling beat-em-up. You can pick up weapons in this one. You could beat up whoever you wanted, essentially. A lot of different characters you got to whoop on. The big-headed bald guys were such a pain in the butt, especially when there's two of them. So frustrating. I never thought it was cheating to knock them off of bridges and stuff like that, and just kill them in one hit. I will admit it took forever for me to realize that you had to go inside the holes in those walls on one of the later stages to progress. I just kept repeating that stage, but fun game. And now we have Dragon Warrior. This was the start of the Dragon Quest series. This is a pretty in-depth RPG. As you can see, you have to step on top of the chest, and then you have to go to the take command to open them up. And if you want to go through the door, you have to get up next to the door. You have to select the magic key, which opens it. Once you get outside, you buy weapons, you have to equip them, then you go out and you fight outside of town. And when you encounter a random enemy, the screen opens up with the face of the enemy. You have to select whether you want to fight or run, magic, item, all that good stuff. And hopefully you prevail. Very rudimentary but in-depth RPG. Always love this game. Next we have Dr. Mario. This is the Mario Wants That Tetris Money game. Fun game. I always enjoyed the multicolored pills and trying to take out multiple viruses at once. I've played this game a lot, as much if not more than Tetris, and I love puzzle games. Dr. Mario always just filled a sweet spot I had. I enjoyed the speed, I enjoyed the trying to wedge those pieces in and just get the right ones. For some reason I could never leave stuff on the bottom. If I only had like a yellow virus left and I was only getting red and blue pills, I would have to delete the stuff on the bottom and have a clean screen. I don't know why, but yeah, fun game, fun puzzle game. Next up you have Final Fantasy, where you got to choose between a fighter, a thief, a black belt, a red mage which could do white and black magic, a white mage that could do white magic, primarily healing, or a black mage which is primarily damaging magic. My team generally consisted of 2 fighters, a white and black mage. Now being the second RPG on this list, just like Dragon Warrior, it's pretty in-depth. Not as in-depth as Dragon Warrior though, a lot of these decisions are made for you. But as usual, you are saving a kingdom from an evil blah blah blah, you gotta save a princess. In the beginning you talk to a king, you get money, you buy weapons, you equip those weapons, and then you go out and fight. And unlike Dragon Warrior, on this one you get to see both the enemy and yourself. You still pick all the same commands, and hopefully you prevail. I've probably beaten this game a dozen times at least. I've used multiple party mixtures, but this is a constant in my life, as is most the Final Fantasy games are. Super Mario Bros. 3. My pick for the best Mario Brothers on the NES. The first one is fun, but it's basic. Number 2 is out there. It's enjoyable, but it never really was a Mario game. We'll talk about that some other time in the future. Mario Brothers 3. You got the suits, you got the leaf, you could fly. Just how crazy this whole new world and set up, all the Bowsers, all that good stuff. All the little secrets. You got behind the screens and all that good stuff. I always loved the little quasi-gambling you could do. There's so much to this game. My favorite level is probably the final level, when you're jumping through all the battleships and the flying fortresses and all that, and dodging the bullets. Gosh, so fun. And now we have Tetris, the most popular, most well-received puzzle video game of all time. So many versions of this game, but none beat the very original. And whatever version you like to play on the NES, doesn't matter, just play a version. They're all pretty dang fun. When I was a kid, I would always try to get as many lines gone as quick as possible. It wasn't until later in life when I realized, oh, if you wait to get an actual Tetris, your score would jump astronomically. And that's when I started doing that. And I always thought I got pretty high and pretty good scores. And then one day I think I was randomly looking at videos and I saw some Tetris high score speedruns and I realized I am terrible at this game, but I still have fun with it. That's what matters. For our last game, we have the Guardian Legend. First time I played this game, I was blown away, and I'm still blown away to this day, replaying it again and again. You start out as this little spaceship that goes through the screen, shooting everything. It is a vertical shooter, unlike most of the horizontals at the time. But you kill everything on the screen, and once in a while you'll get health drops or power-ups. And these levels generally culminate into a boss fight. The first boss being just a ton of these eyes that just shoot a ton of crap at you that you gotta get away from. But after that, once you beat those boss fights, you go onto the open world and you go room to room, defeating enemies, picking stuff, almost like a Legend of Zelda type game. Super fun game. There is a lot to this game. The map is huge. There's plenty of levels to play. I always enjoyed just the difference between the spaceship shooting and then the open world. That was always a treat for me. Alright, so what do you guys think of the video? Do you agree with my list? Have you played those games? Have you beaten those games? What are the games on your most played Nintendo games list? Email me at retrobanggaming@gmail.com and let me know. Until then, have a safe weekend and keep gaming.